اتصال بين الإسعافات ولا في اتصال من الشمال جابوهم بيجوا على المنطقة الآمنة. ما فيش منطقة آمنة لحتى الآن، ما في إسعافات اللي تطلع الناس. خلص الله يرحم الشهداء اللي نزلت عليه الضرب، ما في حد يسعفون. إذا شافوا واحد أو اثنين شافوهم أخذوهم، ولا الباقي تحت نزل مش قادرين. رحمة الله عليهم الشهداء.
With Radio Algeria International, you will not miss a single major political or economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has expressed his best wishes to the Algerian people on the occasion of the 2024 New Year, calling on Algerians to make of the year 2024 another year of achievements. And scores of Palestinians have been killed and wounded in airstrikes carried out by the Israeli occupation against several areas of the Gaza Strip. The celebrations of the 2024 New Year have come as conflicts from last year are still ongoing, and activists launched a global campaign asking people to turn the New Year's countdown into a countdown for a ceasefire in Gaza. And those were the major developments. Now the full news edition. Good afternoon and Happy New Year. The President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, has expressed his best wishes to the Algerian people on the occasion of the 2024 New Year. The President said that Algeria has taken big steps on the path of development in 2023 in various sectors thanks to her people.
أيتها المواطنات، أيها المواطنون، ها نحن اليوم نودع سنة 2023 التي كانت غنية بالإنجازات، والتي خاض فيها وطننا المفدى بفضل شعبها الأبي خطوات ممتازة في طريق النمو والتقدم في مختلف القطاعات.
He said the year 2023 was rich in achievements, calling on Algerian people to keep making efforts, each at his level, to make of the year 2024 another year of achievements to pave the way for Algeria to position itself closer to the level of developed countries. President Tebboune also wished a happy new year to all Algerian people in Algeria and abroad, expressing wishes of health and well-being.
ولمواصلة هذا النمو أدعو كل الجزائريات والجزائريين في العام الجديد إلى مواصلة المجهودات كل من موقعه ومسؤوليته للرقي ببلادنا إلى مقامات أكبر. سيكون فيها عام 2024 عاما مليئا بالإنجازات بحول الله تعالى، تخطو فيها بلادنا أشواط تقربها أكثر إلى التقدم نحو مصاف البلدان المتطورة. تمنياتي للكل الجزائريات والجزائريين ولأبنائنا في الجالية بالخارج عاما سعيدا مباركا بموفور الصحة والعافية للجميع. كل عام وأنتم بخير.
And in response to the appeal of the President of the Republic on pulling efforts to boost Algeria's development, the National People's Assembly assured that all MPs were determined to support the approach of the President and his commitment to pursue the development and the building of the new Algeria. President Abdelmadjid Tebboune has extended his New Year's wishes with his Tunisian counterpart, Kais Saied. President Tebboune also wished a year of progress and prosperity to all Tunisian people. President Saied, for his part, wished a new year of progress and prosperity to Algerians. And the President of the Republic has exchanged in a phone call the New Year's wishes with his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron. The talk was also an opportunity to discuss the expected visit of President Tebboune to France and to tackle bilateral relations. To the Middle East now, scores of Palestinians have been killed and wounded in airstrikes carried out by the Israeli army against several areas of the Gaza Strip. Miriam Barshi tells us more.
The news agency Wafa stressed that at least 68 people died in the Israeli bombardments, which targeted overnight the eastern and central parts of Gaza. According to Palestinian sources, over 21,800 people have been killed in the attacks launched over 2 months ago by the Israeli forces on Gaza. This came as one person was injured when the Israeli soldiers stationed at checkpoint opened a fire at the Palestinians east of Kalkilia in the West Bank. 3 other Palestinians were arrested during an operation carried out today by the Israeli forces near Tulkarem. The news agency Wafa said the arrest took place after the Israeli forces stormed 2 municipalities north of Tulkarem and northwest of Ramallah, as well as a locality in occupied Jerusalem. Reacting to the situation triggered off by the relentless Israeli bombardments, the Palestinian National Council strongly denounced the international community's silence and incapacity to put an end to the genocide in Gaza. It urged the UN and the signatories to the Geneva Convention to take steps to protect the civilians, to stop the acts of aggression on Gaza, and to bring those responsible for war crimes and human rights violations before justice. Meanwhile, the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called for the holding of international conference devoted to the restoration of peace in the Middle East. In a speech made on the occasion of the 59th anniversary marking the beginning of the Palestinian Revolution, he recalled that the Palestinian people was facing a genocide in the occupied territories, with the aim, as he put it, to liquidate the Palestinian issue.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and pro-Palestine demonstrations called on New Year's Eve for ceasefire in Gaza. Activists have launched a global campaign asking people to turn the New Year's countdown in their countries into a countdown for a ceasefire in Gaza, which has been under devastating Israeli bombardment since October 7. The details with Mariam Barshi.
United will never be defeated. United will never be defeated.
Countdown to Ceasefire. A London-based grassroots campaign said New Year's Eve is a moment of celebration worldwide and an opportunity to create resolutions for a brighter future. It said with more than 21,800 people killed in Gaza, the New Year's resolution is to call for a permanent ceasefire. The campaign has successfully been embraced by activists in over 30 countries, including Switzerland, Turkey, Malaysia, Australia, Tanzania, Mexico, and Germany. While ringing in the new year, these local events calling for a ceasefire were live-streamed across Countdown to Ceasefire's social media platforms. Other demonstrations were also staged on New Year's Eve in the West Bank, Beirut, and other Arab cities. The Israeli brutal military offensive in Gaza has killed more than 21,800 people and wounded more than 55,000 people, others triggering global outrage, with protesters across the world rallying to call for a ceasefire. Humanitarian organizations expressed their disappointment towards politicians and countries who voted or abstained from voting for a ceasefire at the United Nations. Organizations including Human Rights Watch, humanitarian organizations expressed their disappointment towards politicians and countries who vetoed or abstained from voting for a ceasefire at the United Nations. Organizations including Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and Doctors Without Borders also condemned countries vetoing a ceasefire, warning that this would result in a humanitarian disaster. On Saturday, the World Food Programme warned that it's in a race against time to avert starvation for millions in Gaza. The UN agency posted on X that only a long-term ceasefire and unhindered humanitarian access can end the ongoing catastrophe.
The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has delivered a message on the occasion of the 2024 New Year amidst a rise in criticism of the UN incapacity of finding tangible solutions to major issues, notably the massacre committed by the Israeli occupation forces against Gaza. Guterres stressed that 2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos, adding that the United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights.
2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful new year.
And that was the message of the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the occasion of the 2024 New Year. The UN Secretary General's Special Representative for Libya, Abdoulaye Batili, has called on all Libyans to get involved in a constructive dialogue to pave the way for the organization of elections this year. In his New Year's message, the UN representative and head of the UN support mission in Libya said it was high time to seize the opportunity and restore cohesion and reinforce confidence to allow for a better future for all Libyans. And the outgoing president of the Democratic Republic of Congo has been officially re-elected for a second mandate, winning 73.34% of the votes. The announcement was made by the Electoral Commission, which stressed that the former governor of Katanga, located in the southeastern part of the country, secured 18.8% of the votes against 5.33% for Martin Fayulu. The UN Secretary General has announced that after 10 years of presence in Mali, the UN mission completed the withdrawal of its troops on December 31st, 2023. And according to a plan, as he said it, and hailed the key role played by the MINUSMA in Mali and paid tribute to the 311 personnel members of the MINUSMA who lost their lives. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and the United Nations will hold next September the Summit of the Future, a high-level event bringing together leaders from around the world to reflect on ways of laying the foundations for a more effective international cooperation that faces up to today's challenges and the threats of tomorrow, as the UN put it. Mariam Barshi.
The summit served as an opportunity to mend eroded trust and demonstrate that international cooperation can effectively tackle current challenges as well as those that have emerged in recent years or may yet be over the horizon. The objective of this global gathering is also to intensify efforts to respect the existing international commitments and take concrete measures to address the new challenges and exploit the new opportunities. According to the United Nations, the summit is a high-level event bringing world leaders together to forge a new international consensus on how to deliver a better present and safeguard the future. The UN said that it already has the what in the form of many existing agreements and commitments, starting with the UN Charter and including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the 2030 Agenda, the Paris Agreement and the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, and many others. The Summit of the Future will look at what it described as the how, notably how to better cooperate to deliver on the above aspiration and goals, and how to better meet the needs of the present while also preparing for the challenges of the future.
You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and that's it for our news bulletin. Now, the headlines. President of the Republic Abdelmadjid Tebboune has expressed his wishes to the Algerian people on the occasion of the 2024 New Year, calling on Algerians to make of the year 2024 another year of achievements. And scores of Palestinians have been killed and wounded in airstrikes carried out by the Israeli occupation against several areas of the Gaza Strip. The celebrations of the 2024 New Year have come as conflicts from last year are still ongoing, and activists launched a global campaign asking people to turn the New Year's countdown into a countdown for a ceasefire in Gaza. 14 hours 44 minutes Algiers time. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. That's it for our news bulletin. I invite you now to listen to a program compiled and presented by Mariam Barshi.
The mining sector in Algeria, which has been underexploited for several decades, has witnessed in 2023 a genuine revival of its activities thanks to the decision of launching mega projects as part of a global vision based on strengthening the contribution of mineral resources to the diversification of the national economy and the support to manufacturing industries and agriculture in line with the guidelines of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmejid Tebboune, aimed at putting the mining sector among the state's priority sectors. Indeed, 2023 is the year of the mining sector by excellence, given the dynamics which have marked the sector, in particular through the launch of iron ore processing operations from the strategic deposit for Kharj Bilet, located in the southern province of Tindouf, one of the largest in the world and one of the most important national investments in the field of mining since independence. In this context, the state is focusing its efforts on the valorization of unexploited underground resources, one of the main axes of the strategy of diversification of the national economy, as part of the action plan for the period 2020 to 2024, with the aim of reviving the sector to contribute more effectively to national development. The visit by the President of the Republic to Kharj Bilet deposit, the first of its kind for an Algerian president since independence, constituted the effective starting point of this important project, an opportunity to emphasize the need to renounce to export of raw materials, particularly mining, with a view to creating added value in the national mining industry, which was strengthened this year by the launch of the zinc and lead deposit in Oued Amizour in the province of Rujaya, in parallel with the clear progress recorded in the integrated phosphate project, which covers 4 provinces in the east of the country. The Kharj Bilet project will achieve several objectives, including support for metallurgy industry, the achievement of iron self-sufficiency, the development of the southwest region of the country, and the promotion of exports. In addition to its significant economic benefits, the mine, whose reserves are estimated at 3.5 billion tons, is now a model of structuring project, whose implementation, the President of the Republic has insisted, should be done according to an integrated and complementary approach with the various industrial and infrastructure projects, especially since the project will contribute to strengthening the country's capacities with a view to relaunching heavy industries and ensuring better prospects for employment when its maximum capacity has been reached. From 2022 to 2025, 2 to 3 million tons of iron ore per year will be extracted. Then its capacity will increase as from 2026 to 50 million tons per year, in parallel to the implementation service of the Kharj Bilet Beshar mining railway line, which stretches over 950 km distance. As part of the same approach for the development of the Kharj Bilet mine, the latter will be reinforced by the steel complex in the province of Beshar, the completion of which is planned in 2026 with an investment of $1 billion. Mine development and exploitation activities are able to create national economic dynamics, contribute to development of the mining sector as a whole, accelerate the path of diversification of the national economy, and promote non-hydrocarbon exports. The operation of the mine will be supervised by the National Iron and Steel Company Ferral in partnership with the Chinese consortium CMH. With a budget of approximately $7 billion, the integrated phosphate project in the east of the country is processing as a 3D path as part of the partnership agreement between Asmedol and the industrial group Managim El Jazair Menel on the one hand, and the 2 Chinese companies, Wuhan and Tianan, on the other hand. This is a mega project which includes the development and exploitation of the phosphate deposit in Beled El Hadba, in Tabessa, the chemical transformation of phosphates in Oued Kibirit in Souk Ahras, the production of fertilizers in Hajar Sud, in the Wilaya of Skikda, as well as the dedicated port facilities at the port of Anaba. The project will allow Algeria to become one of the main fertilizer producing and exporting countries with an annual production of more than 6 million tons of phosphate products. Given the importance of this integrated project for the development of the country, the construction of mining railway lines has been planned with a view to transporting the extracted raw materials on 4 sections with a total length of approximately 300 kilometers. Among the major projects on which Algeria is betting, the zinc and the lead deposit of Tala Hamza in the municipalities of Tala Hamza and Weda Mizor in the province of Béjaïa, the foundation stone of which was laid last November. This new mining project, whose operation will begin in 2 years, will strengthen and increase the country's mining capacities and create added value in order to support the diversification of the national economy while taking into account the environmental aspect and sustainable development objectives, in addition to the creation of thousands of direct and indirect jobs. At the legal level, the mining sector will be consolidated by a new law, the preliminary draft of which was recently presented in a new version. During the government meeting, the draft law aims to create a legal environment conducive and favorable of the development of the mining industry and an incentive framework for investors, in addition to promoting technology transfer. The result for an Algerian-Australian partnership, this zinc and lead deposit support project, aims to exploit and deposit containing a reserve of 34 million tons with the extraction of 2 million tons of raw minerals per year to produce 170,000 tons of zinc concentrate and 30,000 tons of lead concentrate. To find out more about the projects, let's listen to this interview conducted with the Director General of WMZ Company, which is the Algerian-Australian joint venture, in charge of managing the project, Mrs. Mariam Touati.
Tala Hamza Weda Mizor Zinc and Lead Project is a high-grade zinc and lead project located within the Weda Mizor lease area in the province of Béjaïa in eastern Algeria. The project has been granted the status of public utility on account of its importance for the Algerian economy and its development. As a matter of fact, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, indicated that the zinc-lead deposit of Tala Hamza Weda Mizor represented one of the world's largest reserves of these strategic metals, whose exploitation will boost economic growth in Algeria. We have the honor to host the Director General of Western Mediterranean Zinc, WMZ, which is the joint venture in charge of managing the project, Ms. Mariam Touati. Ms. Touati, hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International.
Thank you.
First of all, could you please give us a small overview of the Tala Hamza Weda Mizor Zinc and Lead project, how it started and who started it?
Tala Hamza Weda Mizor Zinc and Lead project is a joint venture between the Algerian public company Sonarem. It's a national mining research and exploitation company through its 2 subsidiaries, ENOF and ORGM. So this JV, this joint venture, was created in 2006 under the name of Western Mediterranean Zinc, WMZ. So the Algerian part, ENOF and ORGM shareholding is 51% and Terramin Australia shareholding is 49%. The main objectives of the joint venture is the evaluation of the Tala Hamza Mizor Zinc and Lead deposit reserves, exploration of the surrounding area of the deposit, carrying out the technical and economical feasibility study, and finally, operation of the deposit.
The Ministry of Energy and Mines has recently affirmed that all technical and financial conditions have been met for the effective launch of the project. When will the project kick off officially?
Yes, actually a detailed feasibility study was carried out by internationally renowned offices, including several technical aspects like the exploitation, processing, environmental impact, as well as the economic study. So all necessary studies have been completed and validated by the competent authorities to assess the impact of the deposit exploitation, which allows us to launch the project before the end of the year, inshallah.
The instruction of launching the project as soon as possible was given by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, during a Council of Ministers meeting. This is evidence of the importance the President personally grants to this mine. In your opinion, how will the project contribute to developing the region and enhancing Algeria's economy in general?
Yes, so it was actually the subject of the national conference held on October 7 of this year at the University of Béjaïa, under the topic of the rarefaction of mineral resources and positioning of Algeria, also the role of the zinc-lead deposit of Tall Hamza Wad Amizour. So the increased global demand for metals and associated products in many industrial sectors had led the rarefaction of some of them, making access to these metal a direct issue on international markets. Hence, certainly the need to put in place proactive solution in the field of research, prospecting and exploitation to ensure their availability and meet local demand while reinforce Algeria's share in the global market. So the zinc and lead mine project, with its 53 million of tons of resources and exploitable reserves of 34 million tons for a production of 2 million tons per year, meet this local need and yes, certainly reinforce the share of our country in the world market, without forgetting, of course, the local advantages, like the creation of more than 700 direct jobs and 4,000 indirect jobs for the benefits of the university graduates, vocational training centers, and also the young people in the region.
The first feasibility study was based on a mining method known as the block caving method, but was soon replaced by another method which is more eco-friendly and which has less footprint on the mining lease and the environment. Could you please give us more details on this particular method?
The first feasibility study was in fact based on a mining method, block cave, the mass caving, but it was not quickly replaced as you mentioned, but it took 4 years from 2010 to 2014 to replace it by the backfill method, which required the redesign of all the feasibility study. So this operating method allows the extraction of ore in low resistance rock, which is the case of the rock in the area here, Tall Hamza and Amizour, and it consists of descending galleries to extract the ore, which will be treated in the processing plant by a flotation system. Approximately 70% of the processing rejects from the plant will be used as a backfill inside the galleries, which makes the use of the tiling dam unnecessary. And the water coming from the mine is completely treated in the water treatment plant on inside the site of the mine, and this is what makes this method very protective for the environment.
So, Ms. Touati, allow me to go back to a very important aspect, which is the aspect related to the impact on the environment. How is this aspect tackled in the feasibility study? What can we say to reassure the citizens of the region and Algerians as a whole?
Yes, the environmental study were carried out by internationally renowned offices such as ATC William. So all the environmental aspects were carefully studied: hydrology of surface and groundwater, biodiversity, air quality, noise pollution, climate, soil and river sediments, water management plan, cultural and archaeological legacy, visual aesthetics. So, and also as I explained earlier for the extraction method, the back and fill, it's a very protective method for the environment.
Ms. Touati, thank you very much indeed for this rich interview. I recall that you are the Director General of Western Mediterranean Zinc, WMZ, which is the joint venture in charge of managing the project in Algeria. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It's worth recalling that Algeria, through its new approach aimed at decreasing its dependence on hydrocarbons, is endeavoring to valorize all the resources that the country abounds, which including mineral resources and agricultural products.